Oh, man, we're ready to go once again on a Tuesday. Thanks for joining us, Longshore and McKnight. Sort of midweek, if you will. And, last night kind of just, I don't know. It was kind of a dull sports day. Major League Baseball starting tomorrow. Woo, can't wait about that. More NCAA this weekend. It's kind of the calm before the storm.
Yeah, I needed a little bit of a reset yesterday, to be honest, because I've been going around like a crazy man. Oklahoma City, the NCAA tournament, starting Tuesday, got back on Thursday night, baseball Friday on the road, baseball Saturday, baseball Sunday. Even if the Alabama-Louisville women's basketball game was prime time on ESPN yesterday instead of at 11 o'clock in the morning on ESPN, I probably still would have taken a gander at it, but last night was just chill a little bit from sports, which, I like to think I lead a broad life. John is more than just sports. And yesterday was that day for it. I don't even know how the Spurs did. I didn't pay any attention at all to.
We don't need to talk about that.
I just listened. I did do this. Now this is
you hinted at the Lady Tide. Can you give us some updates? Because that one slipped past me. I got to admit.
Well, I'll take one for two. John knows opening day for the major leagues is tomorrow, but he thought Alabama women's basketball played yesterday. And I did listen to it. Breaking for lunch, going to pick up my wife for lunch. I was, and a little bit afterwards, I was listening to Roger Hoover. Now they played.
I got to think you that was on that app you listened to. There's no way a radio station carried Lady Tide basketball at 11 o'clock yesterday.
See, but that's not an accurate representation of whether they should or not. John never thought that anybody should carry Braves baseball.
Well,
in Montgomery. So if they're not carrying football and maybe basketball, John says, why are you even carrying sports? Except for us. I listened to it on the Varsity app, which is the only way to which is a great app for college sports. And sure enough, popped right on up there. Alabama WBB at Louisville. And I know they care. If you look, it'll give you the full rundown of what they've got for the day. And I mean, they got, of course, Alabama WBB at Louisville right at the top because it was an early game. Man, they've got Rhode Island lacrosse. They've got Saginaw State baseball on the road at Muskingum and all this stuff. And number one, I am thinking, goodness gracious, that's a great opportunity for a young broadcaster to get some practice, to get some repetitions, to hone their craft and all that. But who's listening to that?
Well, that's usually my first.
Some guy saying, hey, honey, the Saginaw State lacrosse, women's lacrosse match is on. Hey, we've got UConn field hockey. UConn.
Yeah.
Even I am thinking, boy, this is great for a young person and everything. And I don't carry women's basketball in that because Roger Hoover is awesome.
Yeah, he's good.
He did a good job. When I was listening, Louisville was leading by 7. And by the time I went to pick up my wife, which she's not, Troy's a small town, didn't take me long, Alabama was up 1. I mean, it was like an 8-0 run and everything.
Man. Ashton Parker must have had a heck of a game.
Yeah. Big girl All-American.
4 years, I don't think.
I'm telling you, John, Rick Moody was coaching his head off, man. But anyway, after lunch, I went back to it, and it had finished. And so I had to check the score. Louisville 69, Alabama 68.
Tough. Wow. Get beat by 1 on the road in the tournament. Heartbreaking loss.
Yes.
For the Lady Tide as they're eliminated and they pack their bags and head on back to Tuscaloosa. I don't know, Barry, your question, who's listening? Parents, relatives, girlfriends?
I mean, I like it. Believe me, I'm not complaining. I think it's great. Have as many games on the radio as you can, but I cannot envision a trip, a period of time, and I am a radiophile. I'll listen to games all day if I can, rather than Spandau Ballet or whatever. But I can't envision a situation where I would listen to UConn women's lacrosse.
Yeah, me either.
I listen to English Premiership soccer on
okay.
sometimes.
All right.
But, guy like Roger Hoover, who's an up-and-comer in the business, it's a big deal. Radio doesn't have the same coverage because everything's on TV. You can watch everything on your phone now, and that is absolutely booming. CBS Sports and TNT Sports, which is a thing. I think TNT Sports was responsible for getting Keith Hernandez on Seinfeld that one time. No, that's TBS. Sorry.
Yep.
CBS Sports and TNT Sports, so far, the most watched NCAA tournament first round opening day on record on Thursday, which includes TBS, CBS, TNT, and True TV. 9.8 million viewers on average. That's not total. That's on average. And you and I remember a day, and it doesn't feel that long ago, John, when games weren't on TV at all.
Yeah, I'm hear you.
So we hear, and we do talk about college sports. It's unsustainable. It's lost a lot of its magic and allure and all of that, and people are getting fed up with the state of college sports, right? This past year of college football, the highest average viewership per day, and the start of the NCAA men's basketball tournament set a record, 6% more than any first round window in NCAA tournament.
And I wonder what's the reasoning behind that? Is it, it's not because people aren't going to home games, because these games aren't at home. I'm not paying that much to go watch these guys play. So it can't be that. They're at neutral sites.
It's a good question.
It's not like, people are still going to the games, even though I have seen some games, some of the earlier rounds where there were some empty seats. No, I'm not talking about the NIT. I'm talking about the NCAA.
That was unnecessary.
But, college football is the same way. They say college football is the second most popular sport in this country. Wait a minute. I thought baseball was. Huh. Well, I guess you got to rank in the top 100 of TV rankings to be there. But anyway, maybe they've marketed it well.
Well, here's what's happened.
Exciting product.
My theory,
I don't know.
My theory is this. Old people don't matter anymore.
If you're over 54 years old and you get a radio Nielsen rating book, or is it Arbitron? I get them mixed up.
They're basically the same.
You might as well throw it away, because when you check that box, age 54 plus, they throw it away. You're nothing to them.
Yep. You go to
age, Barry. If I'd get a ratings book, I'd fudge a little bit. I'd say I'm 34. Plus, in the industry, you weren't supposed to fill the diary out. I went up and down my street. Hey, man, did you get one of these in the mail today?
I'll take it off your hands. I'll deal with it.
You can keep the $2, but just give me the book.
But here's the deal. Old people don't matter. You as an ad salesman for CBS, TNT, whatever, you ain't going to, let's see, you're not going to big advertiser and say, hey, the results show that we are big among females 60 plus. They don't care about females 60 plus.
No,
They're buying Ben Gay and Sup Hose and all this kind of stuff. Now, it depends. What they're after is not the people who are bleeping and moaning about, I don't like the way things are right now in college football. There ain't no loyalty. Son, if they gave you $1.5 million a year to go root for Auburn, you'd do it in a dang heartbeat. So don't get them hard. I just don't, all these kids, all they're doing is chasing the dollar. They leave here. We ain't been here for a year, and now they're going someplace else, and I can't I can't keep track of them and all that kind of stuff. That's not the case. People are watching. Viewership don't care. They don't care that the star at Michigan, the Big Ten player of the Michigan Wolverines, has only been there 1 year, will only be there 1 year. They see Michigan and they think, hey, ooh, wow, Michigan.
Sure. Well, you look at the NFL and even the NBA ratings have improved. Those players aren't loyal. They're moving around all over the place. I mean, you got the high-profile guys like a LeBron, somebody like that's been at but LeBron's been around, played for Cleveland, played for Miami, he's played for the Lakers. They don't care. They just want to see good basketball, good football, the best athletes. Same thing in collegiate sports. I do miss that. Following a guy 3-4 years through his career, but it doesn't seem to bother the general public and the people that maybe, I don't want to say casual fans, but don't have as much of a interest in a team
or in
the SEC because they grew up rooting for them or they went to that school or their family went to that school or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Young people just want to watch a game. And you know what? I don't know. I think this counts. But if you're sitting in your car riding with your mom and dad in the front seat and you're going off on spring break and you got your phone in the back and you're watching Troy versus Nebraska, even if we're only for a half hour, that counts. Those count.
See?
If you're talking about just sitting there in front of your television for 3 hours and focusing on one game, all right. Very few people do this. If my co-host does it for 20 minutes, it's a major freaking miracle. Sure. But it counts. See, that's a view. That's a viewer. That's an engagement. And that adds
I can go ahead and tell you. Hey, Barry, that was a great opening night in San Francisco. Woo! Major League Baseball is back. Really, John, tell us about it. Well, I didn't watch but 2 minutes of it, but
the first pitch and then the opening first pitch. I don't know who it was, Huey Lewis or somebody.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So I'll get my 2 minutes of MLB in. I also wonder this, Barry. I always wonder about things like this. Is the popularity of the NCAA tournament, is the popularity of college football because of gambling? That it's so free and easy to gamble on sporting events these days in 39 states and counting. But I can tell you one you can't do it in legally. Is the gambling aspect increased the television ratings? If a guy's, got a couple of bucks on a game, is he more apt to watch it? I'm just asking. I think so. That's
the thing is, like, for instance, this is kind of in a roundabout point. On Twitter, I've got, this is not a brag because I'll explain in a moment. I've got like 7,000 followers on Twitter, right? 7,000.
7,000.
Boggles my mind. 7,000 followers follow me on Twitter.
Look at that.
But the majority of them, for some reason, I'm an employee of a Division I athletic institution. For some reason, most of them are prospective student athletes or people who have been prospective students. They think I have something to do with, getting their names in front of the coaches and stuff. So I know it's 7,000, but it's not really 7,000. It's thousands and thousands less. But hey, I got that number. Wow, you got 7,000 followers? Oh, yeah. Gamblers ain't watching the commercials. Am I right, John? Gamblers, unless you're in a sport, even then in a sport, gamblers, they add to the viewership of TBS and TNT and CBS and True TV and all that. But you know what happens if a game's on and they got to play on it and a commercial comes up? You know what they're doing? They're switching to another game.
Probably so. Or they're watching multiple games.
So the algorithm.
They got multiple games on, and I've always wondered about that too. You got multiple games on, commercial comes up. You watching that? Or you watching these other three games? I've always wondered that aspect of marketing and advertising. I can't believe they really like that, but I guess they feel like, well, we're getting them to we're getting them to at least notice our product, see a little bit of it. We might not be able to hold their attention for 30 seconds, but they see it. And it is. Look, I've been dealing with this for over 30 years. It's top of mind awareness. Yep. You're trying to get your product in the brains of the consumer. Yes. And if they just see it, if there's something that they see that they recognize, a jingle, a picture, when they're ready to purchase that goods or service, boom, I remember that. I'm going to do it.
So, I mean, the numbers are big, but are they really? Are the gamblers are not? Are they the ones that are inflating the algorithm, John? I don't know. Before we go to break, we got a big show today.
I like the algorithm.
All right. What is all this? Gotta ask. Ty says Cal-Chi is available in all 50 states right now. And then he says, how is Cal-Chi available in Alabama when gambling is still illegal, John and Barry? And Bob from Pike Road says, Kalash is more like stocks than gambling. It doesn't have odds. You take a position on events. Kalash is legal in every state, not considered gambling. Ty says, thanks, Bob. Do you have to pay a fee to Cal-Chi? Bob says, no, you don't. What the heck is Cal-Chi and Kalash and Kalashnikov and Gula? What do you? I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't either. That's usually I've heard of it. Maybe I never heard of that.
Gets around a little bit.
That is news to me. I've never heard of that. I've heard of this new game all these women are playing. What's it called? Malika man something man. I don't know, but thought it was something similar to that. I've never heard of this.
Okay, well, let's take a break. Lots to get to on the program today, including a visit, of course, with Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com, Travis Ryer on YouTube, and a lot of input from you as well. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Get Truck Month deals on more than trucks at Stivers Ford of Montgomery. Explorers for $13,000 off. Broncos $12,000 off. Expeditions $10,000 off. And Bronco Sports $9,000 off.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Ford Truck Month is bigger and better at Stivers Ford of Montgomery. Take advantage of 0% APR on Super Duties, Lightnings, and F-150s. F-150s, $18,000 off. Super Duties, $2,000 under invoice. And Lightnings, $16,000 off.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information. All righty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. About 18 minutes past the hour on this Tuesday. I got a little pushback yesterday. Actually, I even think when I brought it up, your response, Barry, was, "Oh, John, don't bring that up." Well, I see our man Taco Bell Grande at AL.com has written a column about Alabama must keep Nate Oates for the long term and described all the programs they're going to be looking for a head coach. A lot of blue bloods, one that is probably going to be looking for one. Well, actually, 2 that might be looking for one. A couple of others that already have vacancies. Oates' record, we went over it. 4th straight Sweet 16, only one of 3 programs to do that. Been to the Final 8, been to the Final 4, 2 SEC regular season titles, 2 tournament titles. Pretty impressive. Doesn't have the payroll, if you will, that some of these other programs do. Not the number 1 sport on campus. Even made little overtures that the NBA might be something he'd be interested in at one point in time. So what does Greg Byrne have to do to lock him down? And he, got a pretty good deal going up right now. His buyout is $18 million, goes to $10 million on April the 1st. Interesting. Might have to see what happens after the April Fool's Day. But is that something Bama fans should be concerned about? I mean, I think you got to be. I think you got to be thinking about it, that he's had so much success. And, okay, yeah, he's got a winning record against Auburn, but no other school's going to even look at that. That won't even matter to them. Matter of fact, it didn't even matter to Alabama fans, the ones I talked to. Is that something that Bama fans should be worried about?
I don't know about worried, because it's a good problem to have. I read yesterday where Minnesota, not the Vikings, but the Golden Gophers, have agreed to a small contract as an offensive analyst for Mike Shula.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's now in Minneapolis. This is his, I think, 137th job since he was escorted out as the head coach at Alabama. You want a coach that everybody is beating the doors down to, that everybody is saying, oh, we'd like to talk to him. Boy, you think they want our coach? I bet they do. Well, they probably do. You don't want Mike Shula. Whenever he was escorted out at Alabama, God bless him, he's a nice guy. He says, I suddenly find myself with an availability, and everybody's like, No, Nate Oates ain't that guy. So worried, no, but gratified, yeah. I mean, you got.
I think they should. Well, as I said yesterday, I think that you can say concerned, worried. I don't know. I think you got to be conscious of it.
Here's
that like they did with DeBoer. Allegedly, Michigan was falling all over themselves to hire Kalen DeBoer. And I said back, I'll say this. Do you think Bama Nation would have been more of an uproar if Michigan had hired DeBoer, or if North Carolina or Kentucky hires Nate Oates? What do you think would cause the most reaction?
It would be, I mean, the purest reaction would be Nate Oates. The most negative reaction would be Nate Oates. There would be, and
Are you saying like if DeBoer had gone to Michigan, they would have said, hate that.
Yeah. That it would be the reaction from Bama Nation would be Curry-esque. Oh, really? Oh, well, gosh, it was.
Man, can't believe Kentucky outbid us. Dadgummit.
That's why that's like the lady, or that's like John. Whenever back in the day, whenever, some friends of his would come over, or he'd go to the hospital and they'd have, a newborn.
Yep.
And, John's the kind he'd say, oh, man, that is a beautiful baby. Man, that baby is beautiful. You ought to be proud. And they say, oh, I bet you say that to all of the new mothers. And John be like, no, if it's an ugly baby, I'd be saying, hey, you had a baby. Hey, that's great. Oh, man, fatherhood is the best, if it's ugly. That's the same thing with Kalen DeBoer. Hey, we lost our coach. Golly, what'll we do now? I mean, what'll we do now? That kind of a thing. Liz, here's the perception, in my perception of the Alabama basketball job. John, you got everything you need to succeed. You really do. I mean, the best arena in the country? No. I mean, some of the arenas for some of the blue bloods are a little older. Michigan's is 60 years old. Kansas is old. Duke's is old. So it's not the best, but that's not most important. You're in a great league. You got plenty of money in your budget. I mean, they're not holding you hostage or anything. The only thing anybody ever says negatively about the head basketball coaching position in Alabama is the fact that you're number 2 on campus, and it ain't even close. Yeah. I mean, it's like, if I'm in a position to hire somebody, that's what I'm telling Nate. I'm telling you here, Coach. You are numero uno. You are or at least you're equal with football. That's the perception of the Alabama job.
Greg Byrne would have to do if, one of these schools comes knocking, or the NBA down the road? What do you do?
Yeah.
To convince him. And you're going to hear more about that. Couple of chats on the River Region Straw chat line I wanted to address. Y'all, this is coached. Why?
Coach Ed.
Coach, okay. Y'all give me crud about the NIL talk. Did you see Seth Greenberg did a 20-minute podcast on what all the final 16 teams have in common? They have all spent over $12 million plus on NIL and more. Well, I don't think that's the case, because I saw a.
Have you given him crud?
I don't know if I'd have. Yeah, I don't think I have. Now, there's some teams that didn't make the Sweet 16, like Kentucky, who spent $20 million, BYU $13 million, Duke $12 million.
I don't think.
But
NIL is.
You look at the teams that are in there right now. Alabama spent $9.5 million. Illinois $9 million. Texas $7.5 million.
I don't know that we've given you crud on it. I know. I think if it's Coach Ed, I'm thinking he's talking about Auburn and all that, and I agree. But what were we? This is NIL. Yesterday, the UCLA coach, UCLA, which is the most applied to institution in America, and my sister-in-law's alma mater. UCLA is big time. Their head coach, Mick Cronin, was asked after they got bounced from the tournament by UConn. They said, well, what's it going to take for Utah to get back to its glory days? And he said, well, I'd like another $5 million in NIL. Somebody was asking Georgia football coach Kirby Smart. This is all off the top of my head. This is from the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Somebody asked Georgia football coach Kirby Smart, why are you so against changes in the uniform? Patches, and, I think Georgia's done it with the black uniforms. Yep. And I think one time against Boise State, they had something. Why are you so against the changes to the uniform? And he said, I'm not against changes to the uniform. It's got to make sense. Heck, if it'll get an extra $20 million to our NIL, I'll wear the bleep myself. That's what it is. Everything comes to, do we want to change the uniform? Well, we will if it brings us, more money from an advertiser or something like that to bring NIL.
Right now with logos on the field, naming rights for the stadiums. Yeah, we're seeing that already. We're going to see more and more of that.
They're not doing it for the fun of it. They're doing it. It's going to NIL.
It's going to cost you.
But you better be smart with it.
Crimson Dynasty wines. Portion of those proceeds goes to NIL. They're coming up with every way they can to generate income. Look, there's this misnomer out there, though. You got to spend a ton of money. And I mean, obviously, if you got the best players, you spent some money, but just ask Kentucky how well that's gone for them.
It's not a guarantee. You're right.
Iowa spent $6 million. Nebraska, a little less than $7 million. Texas, $7.5 million. Texas, who spends a ton on football, $7.5 million in basketball. There again, Alabama, $9.5 million. They're not spending these $12, $13 million that some people think they are. They're doing with what with what they've got. They've, done pretty well on it. But I know Coach Ed has had a problem with Auburn in NIL.
Right, I
that
do remember
Auburn
that.
doesn't spend the money that they need. I'm not sure that's the case either. Also, this one
from Bob from Pike Road. He says, "Hold up. We were told by everyone back a couple of months ago when Nate Oates played Bediako that he was horrible, terrible person, hated by everyone in college basketball. Now he is highly coveted."
Bob, there it goes back to, if you can win, it doesn't matter. A lot of people don't like Calipari, but he's a winner, and they're going to hire him. There again,
a lot of people don't like Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, winning can mask a lot of off-the-court issues or personal issues or how you conduct yourself, whatever. If you're winning, they'll overlook it.
I don't know that he's highly coveted. Is he highly coveted now? By who? I never thought he was a terrible person. I think he's a very good person. The concept was bad. The concept was unnecessary. But is he highly coveted now? I don't think his professional career is taking off.
Highly coveted, but out there again, with some of these schools that have openings, I think he's going to be of interest. I mean, there again, we laid out what he's done. I mean, 4 straight Sweet 16s, Final 8, Final 4, conference championships at a school that really is not known for I mean, they're a good basketball program, but they're not thought of like Duke and North Carolina and Kansas and Michigan State and those UCLA. They're not thought of in that level. I mean, those talking heads on CBS just fought all over themselves about Duke and North Carolina, Kansas and Kentucky. They never talked that way about Alabama, but they're a good program.
Yeah. They got everything you need. Got everything you need to win a national. I get what you're saying. Now, you're not talking about Betty Yalko. You're talking about Nate Oates. Yeah. I've never thought Nate Oates was a terrible person. I thought that move was bad. I thought that move was injurious
but if he gets
to
hired by
college
North
basketball.
Carolina or Kentucky, they don't give a damn about that move.
There ain't no doubt about that. There ain't no question about that. Yeah, that little thing, big deal. I mean, he's not doing anything that a lot of them wouldn't have been able to do if they could have gotten away with it. And it turns out he couldn't get away with it. So,
Barry, it kind of goes back to that thing we've talked about before. How come Joe doesn't have to come to the sales meeting on Friday afternoon at 4:45? Well, because Joe took care of business, and his book of business is 4 times bigger than yours. So Joe left at noon today. Well, that doesn't seem right. Matter of fact, we got to hold on to Joe because somebody else wants to hire him.
Why does Nick Saban have an office at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and he still gets to be on College game day shaping the opinions of the college football world? Well, you win 6 national championships, and you're going to get an office there. Anybody going to do that? Oh, he did.
Anybody going to argue with that? Anybody going to go to Greg Byrne and say, Greg, you got to kick Nick out?
I bet he's got to go. I mean, there's some people who said the same thing about another coach. But hey, you win 6, man, you can do what you want. And he's got a better parking place than DeBoer does.
Just think, Barry, if they'd have given Dye that national title when he deserved it back in the day, maybe he wouldn't have caught so much crud.
Maybe you wouldn't have given him so much crud. Lots more still to come. It's Brian Matthews due up next. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Hey, a couple of quick notes before we get to Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com. Speaking of former Auburn football coaches, Senator Tommy Tuberville will join us Thursday, right when we come on the air, about 7:05 on Thursday from the nation's capital. So always enjoy having Senator Tuberville join us. Also, I went through some of our contest entrants, Barry. Not to say you're done, not to say you're out, but your chances aren't looking as good for the hundreds and hundreds of people that had Florida in their Final Four. I'm not saying you're out completely. I mean, stranger things have happened. You got some ground to make up. I'll just put it that way. And there were a ton of people that had the Gators making the Final Four. That was a shot that a lot of those people weren't expecting to see on Sunday. That was a tough one.
If they'd guarded somebody, that guy was so wide open. I mean, this is how bad that guy was so wide open that would force Longshore to say, man, even I could make that three.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I don't know if I could make it, but I'd certainly attempt it.
All right. Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com. Always good to see his shining face. How are you, Brian?
I'm good, and I'd probably clank that one off the rim, maybe, if I could get it that far, too.
Well, you have a little bit more self-awareness about your basketball skills than John does, so that's probably true.
It's deteriorated quite a lot since back in the day.
So far, the Auburn Tiger men's basketball team is in the quarterfinals of the NIT. A win over South Alabama, a win over Seattle. What's the main value of all this, Brian?
I think two things. I think some players are benefiting from it. Elijah Freeman has continued kind of his late season surge and is playing well. I think that helps him going into the off season. And guys like Philip Jovic and Sway, Sebastian Williams-Adams, the two freshmen, I think are getting more playing time, getting more experience, starting to take on bigger roles. So I think it's helping in player development for guys that I think have a chance to return next year. You just never know, right? You just don't. Caden Magwood is another one who's come out of nowhere to play really well for Auburn. I think the other thing is there was some negative feelings around Stephen Pearl at the way the season finished, losing 8 out of 10 games, and he's really come on, and I think winning some games here can help him a little bit too with the fan base and people being more excited about the future of Auburn basketball.
If you were just guessing, Brian, at what this roster will look like next season, I guess in terms of how many current players will be on it, what would your number be?
Well, I guess you're talking about who will return before they make the additions.
Yeah.
My guess would be somewhere between 4 and 6. It's like I don't know what Tahad Pettiford's going to do. It looked like after last year, he went through the NBA process. He was close to, possibly going and decided to come back. And, I'm not sure he's helped himself, to be honest. He probably needs to come back for another year of college basketball. Will that be at Auburn? Will that be at somewhere else? I just don't know. And the thing about that is I go back about 4 years after I don't remember exactly the two players. I think one was Chance Westry. But
Right.
the season's over. I go in the locker room. It's open. It's at the NCAA tournament. And I asked two of these players, "Hey, will y'all be back in the series?" Like, yeah, we're definitely be back. Wrote the story, and a day later, both are in the portal. So I'm not. Yeah, you just never know sometimes. So I'm kind of
that happened to me, Brian, about a guy that allegedly was going to be Alabama's next head football coach, and it didn't happen. So I feel your pain. Yeah.
So the other thing that kind of caught everybody's attention was after the Seattle game when the Red Hawks put up 85 in a losing effort. Stephen Pearl says, we're just not very good defensively. And that's something we're going to have to address next year.
Yes.
And the fan base is saying, please don't tell us that this is only just now occurring to you, Coach.
He's been saying that all season. It's just I think it's out of frustration, right? And I think just the way he said it this time really kind of caught people's attention a little bit more. But if you've watched Auburn, you've seen just about every night a team come in and have their season high and three-pointers made. A lot of times their best player will have his best game, against Auburn. Certainly saw that with Josh Hubbard, who was out of his mind back 3 or 4 weeks ago. But I think that will, when we talk about next year's roster, I think that will be a big priority in the transfer portal for Auburn. I think they will go out and get a rim protector, a big, which is going to cost some bucks, I'm sure, and they're going to add some guards and or some small forwards, whatever you want to call them, with some length that can really defend. So I think that's Stephen Pearl's identity and the way he wants to play. I think if you look at Houston and the way they build their roster, the way they're such a physical, tough defense team to go against, I think that's how Stephen Pearl is going to try to build his team, sort of in that image. So we'll see how that goes, but that would be the starting point, I guess, or the goal they'll try to reach.
Well, I'll tell you one thing nice about this NIT. Auburn's been able to sleep in their own beds. They'll have their third straight NIT game inside Neville Arena.
That's right, Wednesday night, and if they win, they get to go to Indianapolis and play the semifinals at Hinkle, which is where they filmed Hoosiers, which would be, I think, a great experience, right? Yeah. So that's another benefit, I think, of doing this, just having that ability to do that. I think that'd be great for the team. I would love it, back in the day, I'm sure. And it is helpful, right? I think Nevada's a pretty good team, more than capable of coming in here and winning. We saw, the crowd, almost double. I don't know the exact numbers from last Tuesday night at 9 p.m. to Saturday or Sunday afternoon. And then I think there'll be a decent crowd Wednesday. It's an 8:00 tip. People have a little bit more time to prepare for it. So, I think it'll be a really, exciting-ish game, and it has some importance, I think. Not the most important game Auburn's ever played at Neville, but I think it would be big for them to come up with a win there.
And next week, we're going to save this next week if Auburn is still in this thing, Brian, if they win this deal, well, is all forgiven about it? We'll ask you that later on. Right. Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. Looking at some of the headlines on the website, Justin Hokanson, who's my second or third favorite guy on staff. Second is about the high mark that any of those guys can help. You get stuff like this. Spring camp show, a crucial stretch begins. Auburn football set for another huge recruiting day on Tuesday. Let's start with this. Why would you suspect that a crucial stretch begins with Auburn spring football camp?
Well, the pads came on, I guess it was Saturday. I believe it was Saturday's practice. Mm-hmm. And you look at Auburn's roster, they've got, basically an entire new offensive line they have to build out of scratch, right? From 3 returning players and 14 newcomers. On the defensive line, they lost all 4 starters, so they're building that from scratch. They do have some younger players that could step up and grab some spots there, but they also brought some newcomers. So that is the key, pivot point of Auburn's 2026 season is rebuilding the offensive and defensive lines. And you can't really start doing that until you put on those pads and start getting after it, right? So that's what makes this really the most pivotal stretch of spring ball. I think the good thing is because they have so many players now in the spring that you can really afford to have a physical spring and get after it and really put these players through the motions, because you're not as worried maybe back in the day that, you don't have a former 5-star going up against a walk-on, right? You can really evaluate these players really well because they're going up against future starters.
Yeah, I like it. I'm glad to see that spring practice is kind of like it used to be. There's some physicality to it, positions trying to be won, things of that nature. Barry touched on the recruiting. I saw that as well. A lot of recruits coming in for on today, on a Tuesday. Is that normal? It seems like they always come for a weekend.
It's becoming more normal. I think part of that is spring break, but I also would not be surprised if some of these players are just going on business whenever they want to.
Yeah.
I haven't asked, but just the way things are right now, in college sports, etc. But I would say that the amount of recruits, the talented recruits coming through Auburn, is not what I expected. I did not know Alex Golesh was going to recruit high school players to this amount or intensity. It's much better than I was expecting. I'm impressed with what they're doing in that area. The results will show up at the end of May and June when these guys return for official visits, right? That's when we'll see how they do. But I like what I'm seeing so far there. And, they had a about 30 guys by Saturday. I stopped by for a little while to try to help out. It wasn't much help before I went over to baseball, but really impressed with that arm of Auburn's player acquisition right now.
What is the one thing, Brian, that you think is the big difference in the recruiting style or ramping it up compared to Hugh Freeze and past head coaches?
Well, I thought that was Hugh Freeze's strength is high school recruiting. So that's why I was a little bit, questionable about how it's going to go. And plus, I wasn't sure, are they going to put the same emphasis on it, with the portal, with different ways to build the roster? I guess the thing that's different is I think the message is a little bit different. It's less about, it's always entertainment and trying to have fun and stuff, but I think there's a real message about, hey, come here, you're going to run this disciplined program. We're going to, you're going to work your tail off, and we're going to turn you into a future NFL player and compete in the SEC. I think the message is more a football related message to these guys, in my opinion.
You were at baseball. What a series. What a game Friday against Texas. The Longhorns ended up winning this series. What's your take on the weekend and on the state of Auburn baseball right now?
Yeah, games 1 and 2 are very competitive. Texas could have won with one play here or there. Auburn could have won game 2 with one more swing of the bat, right? And then I thought Sunday was really a non-competitive game, even though Auburn, I think, left like 12 guys on base and was maybe 0 of 8, 0 of 9 runners in scoring position, 1 of 15 or something runners on base. So they were probably 3 swings away from maybe making that a very competitive game. I think Texas and UCLA are the top 2 teams in the country right now. I think Auburn went head-to-head pretty well with Texas, starting 3 sophomores, 3 freshmen, and I see just a lot of growth left in Auburn's baseball team as the season goes on. So I really see the potential for Auburn to get a lot better. They also got Eddie Madrigal back Sunday for a pinch hit appearance, when he drove a double over the head of the right fielder, one of the best hits of the weekend. So having that left-handed power bat in the lineup, I think he's going to be fully cleared this week to play the field if he needs to, or be a full-time player. I think that's big for him. So I think that'll help out Auburn's offense, which is performing well, but I don't think up quite to their potential, especially in the home run doubles, the slugging type potential of that lineup. I don't think we've seen that yet.
Do Auburn and Alabama play this weekend?
They do in Tuscaloosa. Alabama got swept opening weekend, and then comes back and sweeps Florida, which I thought was really impressive. They had a no-hitter on Friday, and I don't know his name, but one of their position players, the SEC Player of the Week. So they're going to be feeling really good about themselves with Auburn coming to town. So that should be a really exciting competitive series.
Oh, man. So much stuff going on involving Auburn athletics. Brian Matthews and that staff at auburnsports.com, On 3 Rivals, all of those resources. How do people sign up?
Yeah, check us out. We'll have full coverage today of practice. We talked to Alex Golish here in about 3 hours.
All right.
We will have full coverage of pro day. We meet with Coach Pearl today, and I will be driving to Montgomery tonight for the baseball game against South Alabama at it used to be Riverwalk, but it changed. What is it?
Davos Field.
Davos Fields. Okay, well, I will be there.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Now we're going to have to deal with this.
When did they change? Wait, where have I been? I mean,
like, I just found out about it. It was like a day ago or a few days ago. I don't even know. It just popped up.
Yeah.
So.
Who is Dabo besides Dabo Sweeney? Wait a minute.
Thanks a lot, Brian. I'm going to have to deal with this for the next hour. You can go. I got to sit here and deal with this.
Yeah. And it's all capitalized too, John. I can't believe it. It's crazy.
I got to look into this. Yep. Unbelievable.
Appreciate you, Brian. Thank you very much.
Man. Appreciate that, Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. Thanks to our River Region Straw chat line as well, Barry. I wasn't there again. I got to get on my game. I did not. He said, ask about the series with the Bammers this weekend. I guess he was talking about Auburn in Alabama this weekend. Where have I been? I mean, come on.
Chris the Bammer is the de facto program director. He'll say spin. Chris the Bammer is the king of the one-word spin. Belly. Break. Chris is just sitting there going, I'm going to see if I can tell them what to do.
Yeah.
God bless
So Bama hosting Auburn this weekend in baseball. Thank you. I did not realize that. So what's the? Do we need to go to break before you tell me about this new name for the? How did I not see this?
How have I got to tell you? I don't know. I mean, John's like, well, I didn't know. Barry, tell me about it. Well, you've got a computer. You've got internet access.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
it's some sort of a. It's some sort of a sponsorship.
Okay, so I will say this, Barry. This is the first thing that entered my mind, and I just wasn't quick enough to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know Scott Cross went to Georgia Tech, nor was I aware that they changed the name of Riverwalk Stadium.
Wait a minute. Major League
Jason
Baseball
says
is
it happened on the
playing
same
tomorrow on Netflix? What? Yeah. It's a crazy world.
I'm
Jason,
gonna
I
Google
thought
this
exactly
right now.
the same thing. So, John, that's the thing about it. You guys are on this program to learn about sports. So, John, hey, what happened? Huh? What? It's not Riverwalk? We all know that in the history of his life, it will, no matter what, always be Riverwalk.
Yeah.
It's been 25 years since Shreveport hosted the Poland Weed Eater Bowl.
Weed Whacker
For
Bowl.
John, the entirety of his life, it'll always be the Weed Whacker Bowl.
I'll say this, Barry, without knowing what this new name is all about, it doesn't just roll off the tongue. It's just not one of those I'm thinking, what? I don't know. Oh, okay. Hey, if it helps them, I'm all in. Go for it.
They got a new ownership group. They changed the name of it. Pets' heads are falling off. Total anarchy. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
It's Ram Truck Month at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. New Rams 20 grand off or 0% for 6 years, and heavy duties 12 grand off. Backed by Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. The Declaration of Deal sales event is on at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. Grand Cherokees, Grand Cherokee L's, and Gladiators up to 15 grand off, and Wranglers 13 grand off. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm." Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Well, a quick Google search tells me that Davos is a biotech company, and this was announced 6 days ago, and I'm just finding out about it.
You've got to take charge of your information, John. I'm just finding out about it intimates that you're just sitting back there saying, well, somebody better tell me about something. Nobody's told me anything in a while. Nobody has walked up to me and handed me a piece of paper with this information. Therefore, you guys are slipping up. I'm
on the website.
Barry, what's the story with this name change in the Biscuit Stadium? I don't know. What were you asking me for? Well, because you always are the one that knows.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I'm the one that tries to find out.
Barry's the first place I'm going. Davos is an exclusive, is your exclusive destination for all science, biotech, medical, biochemical, chemical, pharmaceutical. Oh man, this.
No. Keep going. This is high entertainment. John's trying to read.
Is there any? Do they have? Are they located in Montgomery? Where's this outfit out of? I don't. Wow. I would have if you'd have given me $1,000 and say guess the naming rights of the Riverwalk Stadium. I'm not sure this would have been the place. But
ever since we got out of this break, that's the first complete sentence John has said. What is this? I don't know. Pharmacology. What? What is it? You can't. What? Love it.
I'm a little rattled. I can't believe I didn't know that.
Well, but again, it ain't going to change things.
No.
John will ask his buddies, "Hey man, what are you guys doing tonight?" "Oh, the Biscuits are playing at Riverwalk." "Yeah, I might bebop out there." It ain't going to say, "Hey, we're going to Davos Field tonight."
Barry, I don't want to discount the naming rights and the new sponsor and want to give them the love they deserve. But you're right. I don't think I'm going to find myself going, "Hey man, I'm going down to Davos Field tonight." Nothing against them. I just going to probably call it Riverwalk.
And stop texting me about the pharmacological stuff that has been going on around Riverwalk for years. That's not fair. That's
Has it? What is going on down there that I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
A
lot, evidently.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I can tell you this little quick story. Jason says Dale Earnhardt passed away. I can remember the day that happened. I got off.
He does remember that. He was aware when that took place.
I got off a plane in Atlanta. I was flying from San Diego to Atlanta. Got off the plane, walked by a bar in Concourse B. All these people are huddled around the television. Knew the Daytona 500 was that day. And I'm thinking, what in the world? What are these people looking at? And went over there and somebody goes, "Man, the Intimidator died today at Daytona." Went, "No way. You got to be kidding me."
It was just a simple little thing. It wasn't like barrel rolling. You want to see something really good. And I've been telling myself for years I'm going to do this. This summer, I'm going to do this. Because it'll take a little work on my behalf, but I think it will be great entertainment. I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to come up with a list, not too long, maybe 25, maybe 30 names.
Okay.
And we're going to have not an entire show, maybe an hour, probably just a half hour of one show this summer when things are a little slower. I'll do some research, and we'll play with John, Dead or Alive.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go over some names, and I'll have some background. Joyce DeWitt.
Ooh.
Who's Joyce DeWitt? She's Janet on Three's Company. Dead or alive? And see if John knows. Alive? Oh, ding, ding, ding. Now, we'll do that with John.
Now, Barry, are these not named this anymore? It's not the Brute Sun Bowl, the Mazda Gator Bowl, the FedEx Orange Bowl, or the USF&G Sugar Bowl?
Alaska is a state. Let's see. The Baltimore Colts have moved.
Yeah, Johnny Unitas.
Shorty Price is dead. Those. John. Again, like I said, one of the things in John's world, the pinnacle of civilization was in the 1980s. Anything that happened after the 1980s is superfluous and probably didn't need to happen, and it was never as good as anything that we had going on in the 1980s. It
was a great era. That was a great decade, man. The 80s. So
we're going to do that. Dead or Alive with John Longshore.
Cannot wait.
Guy who kept shooting the cans in The Jerk with Steve Martin. Dead or alive? Dead.
Hey, Barry, somebody just texted me. Lincoln got shot. What? Hey, Barry, in all seriousness, tomorrow is a big day, and I want you to go ahead and make your lunch or dinner plans today for tomorrow, because tomorrow is the day of giving at Jersey Mike's. Locations in Montgomery, Prattville, I know throughout the entire country. There's a location in Troy. The day of giving is tomorrow. 100% of the sales of Jersey Mike's tomorrow nationwide will go to Special Olympics USA. And, of course, that money will be filtered to the state level as well. So Jersey Mike locations here in Alabama, Special Olympics Alabama will definitely benefit from that. 100, think about that. 100% of the sales tomorrow at Jersey Mike's go to Special Olympics, helping to support local athletes travel to the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games that'll be later this summer in Minneapolis. So make your plans to go to Jersey Mike's today. You can go to the app today and donate, but tomorrow, 100% of all sales will be donated to Special Olympics. So make your plans to go to Jersey Mike's for lunch tomorrow, for dinner, or get a bunch of Jersey Mike's and take them back to the office for your co-workers.
Love it.
All the money will be going to that's, Barry, you always hear companies go, a portion of sales. There is no portion. It is all sales.
All of it.
Yeah. No portion. All of it goes to Special Olympics tomorrow. So salute to Jersey Mike's.
Yes, if they are going to make a commitment like that, and we totally salute them, because John and I, especially John, are all about Special Olympics. John's been a volunteer for the Special Olympics for as long as I've known him, and I've known him a long time. If they can make that commitment, you can make a little commitment, and it's not even that much of a commitment, because Jersey Mike subs,
oh yeah,
they are big time, especially with that secret little sauce thing.
Yeah, they call it the juice.
The juice.
Not to be confused with OJ. Different kind of juice.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right, what do you say we take a top of the hour break? Travis Ryer on YouTube, Talking Tide, going to join us here in a couple of minutes.
It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light. But here we
what are we doing
go.
Here? Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com.
All guests of
where's the beer
Longshore
guy?
McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hall.
Bud Light here? You get a Bud Light? Bud Light?
I'm here, Bud Light.
Bud Light here?
Bud Light here.
Bud Light here?
Bud Light where?
Bud Light here?
Oh, Bud Light there.
I missed that because of you.
You did not miss that play because of me.
Stop to stop talking this way?
Yeah.
It's actually kind of fun.
Hey, I got your Bud Light.
Oh, nice. Never mind. Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light.
What'd I miss?
I have no idea.
The Montgomery Regional Airport is getting better the more you use it. MGM offers multiple nonstop daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport via Delta and American Airlines. And beginning this April, MGM will offer daily nonstop flights to Houston's Intercontinental Airport via United Airlines. All of these cities offer easy connections to destinations all over the country and all over the world. Make travel more cost-effective and less stressful when you utilize your Montgomery Regional Airport. MGM, you can get there from here. All right, welcome. Oh, here we go. Welcome.
We had a tweet yesterday that I retweeted on my account, John.
Yeah.
Somebody took a big picture. It was somebody who's not even from the area. It's just some national guy, just some random national guy, took a picture of his vantage point from the security line these days at Hartsfield International.
Yeah.
And he's just some guy. He's not even, he said, I know I should have flown out of Montgomery.
See?
I retweeted that. I said, yeah, we love.
Yep. It's interesting. I
MGM.
thought about that yesterday as I was watching some of that. Even in New Orleans, they showed the New Orleans airport, which I don't know if you've been to. It's a new one, brand new airport in New Orleans. It's really nice. They had people. That line looked a mile long. I'm thinking, where are these people doing all that type stuff? Unbelievable. When you can fly out in an MGM, make it easy. Matter of fact, we will be at MGM 2 weeks from today, Barry.
Hey.
I'm glad you brought that up. 2 weeks from today, Barry and I will be at the Montgomery Regional Airport because that is the first day of the new service to Houston via United Airlines. That starts on April the 7th. We will be there broadcasting that morning live and letting you know all about all the good things going on out at MGM. As we've said so many times, getting better the more you use it, and obviously getting better with an additional airline with service to Houston where you can make connections to points all over the globe. So we're excited about that in 2 weeks.
Don't do it to yourself. This one guy, he's not even from Montgomery, said, man, knew I should have started out from Montgomery. Go to iFly Montgomery and find out more.
That's easy.
FlyMGM.com. The Twitter handle is iFlyMGM.
It's awesome.
You need to make sure you take advantage of
and
that.
Get that TSA pre-check. It's even quicker when you go through MGM. It's awesome. All right, our man Travis Ryer on YouTube, Talking Tide, joining us here today as he does each and every Tuesday. Travis, thanks for hopping on. Hope you're doing well.
Doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing really well. Alabama's doing really well without Aiden Holloway and Charles Bediako. Travis, surprised about this run for Alabama, and if so, where does the surprise originate?
Not entirely surprised. You know, they were pretty good before and after Charles Bediako. Don't make no mistake about it, especially with this Michigan team coming up. You would absolutely love to have his size starting this Friday night in Chicago. But, you know, with or without Aiden Holloway, they had played well without him too. That's the one positive, I guess, for a team that went through it in terms of player availability really throughout the course of the season. I think guys got accustomed to having their numbers called, and you know, when they shoot the three like they did against Texas Tech, they're going to be tough to beat. Now, Texas Tech, I felt like from the start, and we talked about this a lot, I'm not as much worried about seeding as I am draw. And just upon seeing that first and second round matchups, I thought it was a favorable situation for Alabama, but you still got to go out there and take advantage of it. I'll say this, give Tech and that coaching staff a lot of credit, because the team I saw against Alabama on Sunday night, and not to devalue the performance by Alabama because the Crimson Tide was great, but to get to the round of 32 and as a 5 seed and to come out of a league like the Big 12, they did a tremendous job post JT Toppin with the injury he sustained.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same for everyone at this point. You're trying to work through things, and unfortunately for a team like Texas Tech, they were without their best player.
I thought Alabama played the best game they played all season, and I've heard a lot of other people say that. But, Travis, to me, it was how they spread the wealth. So many players contributed, both starters and bench players. I just thought it was a complete team win.
Yeah, total engagement and energy. There was a big disparity between the two teams, I thought, coming out just to start the game in terms of juice. You know, Alabama looked like a team that knew it had a good matchup. That's what Alabama looked like. Confident, playing freely, not putting LeBaron Philon totally in the position without Holloway that he's got to give him 25, 30 points. And Reitzel, when he's knocking down shots like he did, that changes everything for Alabama without Holloway. And, you know, they go to the bench and they get play like they got from Millett once again, not so much just in terms of his scoring, but again, energy and extending possessions on the offensive glass. Noah Williamson, it's been largely a forgettable year for the big man coming in, but he's been great through the NCAA tournament. Call him, I guess, NCAA tournament Noah at this point, because he's been really good in those first 2 games. And again, we'll see, because Michigan's an entirely different animal. You know, I kind of had the ceiling for this Alabama team as a Sweet 16 team, in large part because you anticipate once you get to that second weekend, the matchups that were maybe favorable in the first 2 rounds. There's an inevitability once you get to that second weekend as a 4 or a 5 that, you know, that one's going to be difficult to deal with. And I think that's going to be Michigan on Friday night.
Well, I do think this, if Michigan plays to their potential, throughout the entirety of their tournament. In a couple of years, there's going to be a lot of kids in Saginaw and Marquette and Ann Arbor named Yaxel.
Yeah, and he's important, but they've got a lot more too. They are complete. I felt like going into the tournament, to me, Arizona, I would have had at the very top of the seed line as the top overall team, but I couldn't quibble with Michigan. I think Michigan and Arizona are very similar. Then I think you get more to Duke and Florida, and of course we saw the Gators go out on Sunday night. So absolutely. I think the concern with this matchup for Alabama is that with that size defensively for Michigan, the Wolverines can do what Arizona, Florida, and some other teams with size have done to Alabama. That's run those shooters off that three-point line and make them finish amongst the trees down in the paint.
Travis, you got to imagine that Greg Burns is going to start getting some phone calls. North Carolina has an opening. There's some rumors that some other high-profile basketball programs could have openings as well. Nate Oates has been incredibly successful, 4th straight Sweet 16. You got to think some teams are going to be looking at him.
No doubt. And they've been through this already with Nate, right? A couple of years ago, not too long ago, it was Kentucky. And that's where the program is. We'll see what happens with Bill Self in Kansas as well. Yeah. So you're right. It is blue blood season, or at least it looks like it's going to be. I've kind of reached the point with Nate that if I'm an Alabama concern, I'm probably more worried about the NBA than I am even some of these blue blood jobs at the college level. And he's got what he wants other than NIL. That's the only thing that I could sort of worry about if I were an Alabama fan, is that, Alabama, my understanding is 10th out of 16 teams in basketball in NIL right now.
Really?
Yeah, that surprised me too.
Wow.
So that may be more of what Nate wants to hear in this offseason than even his, contract or a raise or anything like that, which he is absolutely deserving of, because he stands alone at this point in terms of coaches, basketball coaches at Alabama. And Alabama's had some good coaches, we know, C.M. Newton, Wimp. But right now it's Nate and everybody else.
With all that being said, and without presupposing what's going to happen in the rest of the tournament, football program made it to the college football playoff, basketball to the Sweet 16, maybe beyond. Women's basketball, they just got knocked out yesterday in the NCAA tournament. Baseball is like 14 games over 500. They sweep Florida, get a no-hitter, and you go down the line. Softball's always great. In the broadest sense of Alabama athletics, is this the golden era?
Pretty darn good, especially when you talk about the programs that dominate the collegiate scene with football and also men's basketball primarily. So to be a Sweet 16 program, which you can call Alabama very confidently right now. I mean, 4 straight Sweet 16s, 5 out of 6, and also a participant on an annual basis for the most part in the college football playoff. Yeah. But to your point, it extends beyond that. It looks like Patrick Murphy has softball back on the ascent. Was a little bit of a drop off there by his standards that he's created at Alabama, the monster he had created at Alabama with the softball program. But, they look very good now. They've won 3 straight SEC series to open that part of their schedule. Baseball got that much-needed sweep over Florida in Tuscaloosa over the weekend. Didn't really see that coming after the Crimson Tide was swept at Kentucky the previous weekend. So, yeah, women's basketball with Christy Curry has become a fixture in the women's NCAA tournament. Lost a tough one in a true road environment at Louisville yesterday, but still advanced to the round of 32. So, it's good stuff right now.
Yeah, it is. It is good stuff, but we all know the majority wants that football program to be top notch, and they head back to the practice field after spring break. I guess the pads are coming on. They'll get a little bit more physical, some scrimmages. We have heard that it looks like the 8A game is going to be like the old days, maybe even more of a game-like situation next month when they have the 8A game.
Yeah, I mean, you've got more of an expanded roster than you've ever had. So in terms of player availability, it should be more of a doable thing. And we've gotten past the pant load stuff about poaching where spring games are concerned. So I'm glad to have weathered that after a year or two. What a crock that was. But sure, the physicality part that you alluded to, John, coming back from spring break, I think it's huge because the lines of scrimmage are where they're still, trying to figure some things out with an emphasis, I would say, more so on the interior of the offensive line. If they really feel as good as they sound like they do about Jackson Lloyd and Michael Carroll at the tackles and Rayson Delgatti, they went and got out of the transfer portal at the center position, how those two guard positions are going to play out. And they got to be better at running back. I know I went on a bit of a rant in the last week or so about, Alabama running backs in 2025, statistically recording, I think, all of 0 stiff arms. I mean, they got to be better with the offhand. They got to create some separation. They got to run through some tackles. They got to stay clean with their feet. All those cliches they've got to do in 2026. So, I still think those are two of the areas specifically where, they need to take great advantage of what they got left this spring.
I got to ask you about this because John and I talked about it briefly. I wish we had more. They were playing at the Valspar Championship last week. Matthew Fitzpatrick won that thing. Now, I know the people. Nobody knows this. Scratch that. Adrien Dumont de Chassard. Nobody knows who he is, but evidently Matthew Fitzpatrick says, let's pick it up a little bit. He said that was really frustrating. The idea of slow play on the golf links is something that gets John hot under the collar. If only for TV. The tour has got to do something about that.
They got to start popping guys.
Yep.
And not just a stroke either. Two pop them. Hit them with 2. That'll speed them up. Because you start thinking about the difference in money between 2 shots. When it's all said and done. And you think about the points that these guys are after, the status they're after, where signature events and majors and things like that are concerned. They got to drop the hammer on it, and I loved it. Matthew Fitzpatrick in the last 2 weeks has become one of my very favorite players on the PGA Tour because he did something after the Players that I'm pretty sure you typically don't see a lot of golfers do after they lose in a situation like that to Cam Young. He went up and congratulated all of Cam Young's family and just a class act.
Yeah.
And it was obviously the rooting underdog there at the stadium course as that thing came to a close. And then to finish that tournament at a tough track like Copperhead, like he did, making some putts. And I like that he's got some demons too, like the rest of us. I mean, when you're chipping cross-handed, that tells me you got some of the same snakes. You got some of the same snakes I got, Matt.
Yeah. Start using the hybrid around the green and just scrape it up there. Yeah.
Yeah. When they go totally one-handed chipping, that's when you know it's really rough.
Yeah. Well, speaking of golf, I see par 3 driver guy made a trip to Hyde Park. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Hyde Park Golf Club on the west side, as we say, of Duval.
The west side is the best side.
It's real Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up. That's where Pops, did such a wonderful job of fathering me.
Pops, who, by the way, says never co-sign on a credit card.
Yeah, someone on X was asking for best advice you ever received, and I still remember Pops telling me never co-sign on a credit card. Don't ever do that. That was about the only good advice I got from Pops, but it stuck, and I think he's absolutely proven correct on that. But out at Hyde Park, man, it's a great golf course. It's like 101 years old. It's a muni. You know,
yeah.
It was around. You got people. You got greats. There's the ghost of Ben Hogan out there.
Oh wow.
Sam Snead. The Greater Jacksonville Open in the 40s and 50s was contested out there. So it's a lot of history. There's debate about whether or not it's a Donald Ross design or was it the Canadian Stanley Thompson that it doesn't matter. It's such a great layout. It's the best layout in Northeast Florida. And I said what I said.
Oh wow.
And that includes the stadium course, and that includes Pablo Creek, Timaquana Country Club. You line them up, and I'll promise you the final 4 or 5 holes out there at Hyde Park, just from a layout perspective. I'm not talking about agronomy and turf conditions.
Love it.
Clear.
Agronomy. Topography. Throw in topography too there, Travis. That's big in golf.
It was they call it the working man's Augusta National is what they call Hyde Park.
Love it.
I remember the Greater Jacksonville Open has the slight implication, probably truthful, that somewhere out there was a lesser Jacksonville Open.
Yeah. Well, I call it the granddaddy of them all because it was it precluded it preceded what we have now, the Players. So if you want the DNA for the Players, it goes back to Hyde Park Golf Club, and they have really cold beer, which is important.
Oh, that's a key.
Out there.
That is very important.
Thing you got to remember about if you play Hyde Park is that everything breaks away from Sonny's Barbecue on Lane Avenue. So, a lot of places, the putts move away from mountains or towards the ocean.
Sure.
Out there at Hyde Park, everything breaks away from Sonny's Barbecue on Lane.
Which is odd because everything else funnels into Sonny's.
Yeah, well, a lot of my friends have, and it shows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing I did notice, don't want to be critical, just making an observation, just shows you how closely I watch your videos, Travis.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like they need to do a little work on the cart paths.
They do. I like to call that charm myself, character maybe.
Yeah. All right.
I think they're still in the middle of a massive renovation out there.
Okay.
And I think they're going to go to the Coquina Shell
nice.
Pass, which everybody should do. I don't know why anyone anymore would do the paved cart pass. So much easier to upkeep and cheaper.
I grew up in Central Florida, and Coquina was all over the place. Here's the deal, is if you have Coquina cart paths, you better not barrel roll that thing because Coquina will take a couple of layers of stuff.
Yeah, it will. And, you may have to bandana up, mask yourself a little bit on those dusty summer days. But, it's just, there's so much nostalgia out there for me because that place literally helped raise me. I mean, in the summers when I was 10, 11 years old, my mom would drop me off at the gate at 7 a.m. and come pick me up at 5:30. And I would walk 45 holes.
Travis, it's such a great
memory. Look how he turned out.
Right?
Saturday, I was down on the Gulf Coast, and I was up on a bluff, and I had my clubs in my bag, in the back of my car, and some old shag balls. I went out there on that bluff barefooted. And hit a couple of shots out into the water, hit a couple of drivers. And I thought, man, now this was when I was young, played golf barefooted. I didn't play golf in a pair of shoes till I was about 14, 15. It was so much fun playing golf barefooted. And I dug my big toes into that grass and cranked one out there about, 260. I can't hit it as far as I used to, but man, that felt good.
Yeah. I mean, it's the nostalgia. It's, the sentimentality of it all. It's great. And what I love about Hyde Park too, it's not a residential golf course. There's no houses on. When you're out there, it is much more like a big park than it is, like I said, a neighborhood or a 90s sort of setup.
Love it.
Well, Travis Reier joins us. Lots of different things that go on his YouTube channel, Second Watch. Of course, Kart Golf, Southern Fried, a whole bunch of stuff. Give us a clue exactly what all Reier on YouTube really means.
Yeah, we had Kart Golf last night, kind of reviewing the weekend in professional golf, looking ahead to the Texas Swing coming up before we get to Augusta National. Man, just a couple weeks away. And, now that Alabama football's back in spring practice and with the NCAA tournament, we'll have some Alabama-specific content coming up in the next few days. Second Helping is our SEC show. We'll have a lot to talk about there where the NCAA tournament is concerned and spring football around the SEC as well.
Check it out. So many great platforms, so much great content. Ryer on YouTube. Just search Ryer on YouTube. You'll find it all. It's great stuff. Travis, thank you as always, my friend. We appreciate the time. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
You too, buddy. Thank you. So much good stuff there. Travis Ryer. Great content as always. Barry, did you go barefooted a lot as a child?
Yeah. Heck yeah. All the time. I got to be, I have long, skinny feet, which was perfect as a kid for running across the asphalt street and being able to stop right in the middle where the traffic stripes are, because the traffic stripes aren't hot. My feet would fit as a kid inside those traffic strips. So you'd run out there, and then you'd stand sideways for a moment, let your feet cool down, and then you'd run over the other side and get to the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Man.
I do. I mean, we did everything. Baby, I went to church barefooted till I was about 10 years old. Every kid went to church barefooted. You could go to school barefooted till you're like in 3rd grade. It was awesome. And like I said, I remember I started playing golf when I was about 8. Nobody wore golf shoes. We just went out there barefooted.
If this was possible, if you total up the amount of time that John spent in his lifetime in socks, it would probably be less than any grown person I know. He don't wear them now. He wears shoes under protest now. But when he was a kid, never wore shoes at all.
Is this bad? I don't think it is because I've been doing it forever. I don't wear socks to church. I'll put on a pair of loafers and just stick my feet in there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I go to the communion rail and I'm kneeling and people can see my ankles, but preacher man hadn't said anything yet. So
take a look. All the apostles, all of the apostles, none of them wore socks.
I see.
None of them.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. I don't wear, it's funny, and particularly in the summer, I don't wear shoes a lot in the summer. I mean, if I go out, I will. But if I'm around the house or I'm down on the coast, I ain't wearing shoes.
Oh, man,
we're thinking about it.
We're doing a show somewhere, Atlanta or Nashville or wherever. I'm looking down the middle of the show. John's talking. I'm peeking underneath. He ain't got any shoes on.
Nah, take your shoes off.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well,
hey, wow, look at that. We are told, Barry, a mere 25 minutes. Well, no, because Travis came on about 3 after. So it was like 22 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
The one quick thing before we go to break, since we've totally blown through a break anyway. Tobias says, with all the issues with TSA, I'm glad I flew out of Montgomery Regional Airport. They were shorthanded there yesterday. Everybody is, but nowhere near as bad as in Atlanta. See, that's the thing. They're shorthanded, not bad. Believe me, it's not bad. I mean, you get you right through. But see, that's the thing about TSA. You can't like volunteer. Hey, I'll help out. Let me take a look at that guy. Give me a wand. I'll get you. I ain't going back in that back thing but you're ahead of the game if you fly out of the Montgomery Regional Airport, just like our guy.
No doubt about it. All right, Barry, when we get back, we're going to give you a bracket update and
the Phantom's Daily Dog. Yeah, it's coming up as well. It's Longshore McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. Many well-known restaurants in the river region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272.
Hey, where's the beer guy? Bud Light here? You got a Bud Light? Bud Light?
I'm here, Bud Light.
Bud Light here?
Bud Light here.
Bud Light here?
Bud Light where?
Bud Light here?
Oh, Bud Light there!
I missed that because of you.
You did not miss that play because of me!
Tough to stop talking this way?
Yeah.
It's actually kind of fun.
Hey, I got your Bud Light.
Oh, nice. Never mind. Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light.
What I miss?
I have no idea.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. All righty, welcome back in, everybody. Thanks to the River Region Straw VIP text line. Travis failed to mention former Alabama basketball coach Benny Dees. How about, remember him? Remember old Benny Dees? He was an assistant for
I was about to say he wasn't a head coach.
Didn't he fill in for a couple of games? I want to say Benny Dees had a cup of coffee as the head coach at Alabama.
He used to be the head coach at Wyoming.
Wyoming, yeah. I remember that at Wyoming. He's kind of like that guy, the inside trap guy that was the head coach, football coach at Alabama.
Yeah.
For like a game or two.
That's the deal is, he started saying, hey, look, and I don't disagree with him, as far as basketball coaches at Alabama, Nate Oates is in a class by himself. They've had some good ones. They've had CM and they've had Wimp, and then he kind of trailed off a little bit.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He was thinking of some others, but those were the two.
No.
Yeah. I'm just, I don't want you to hit the panic button, but I just think Bama fan needs to prepare themselves for the possibility of maybe Nate Oates being somewhere else.
It's funny because we've talked about this, but I don't think people pay attention to this. I mean, we've at least talked about the possibility. Travis brought up that if there's anything that might really, really attract him, well, it wouldn't be Kansas necessarily, or it, wouldn't be, some of the other ones. It would be the NBA. I get that. I think he'd be good in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA is pure basketball and all that, John. When we were in Oklahoma City, of course, the Thunder was out of town because NCAA tournament was using their facility. But every time we went out to eat, the Thunder game was on. They played the Magic and they played the Nets on the road. And that's the first kind of extended time I've watched the NBA in a while. John, the NBA in the regular season, you got one guy down low, four guys out, and they're all just sitting there shooting threes. To me, I mean, if I'm a fan, I'm not liking the game as a fan. It's kind of boring, but as a coach, forget about it.
Yeah,
you're not coaching. You're just doing rotations. Okay, it's time. You go in.
Sure, I can see him being attracted to that. There's some talk about he's got daughters, and I think maybe his youngest is close to graduating high school in a year or two, so he might be more willing to take an NBA job because his children are in college, and you're on the road a lot in the NBA. There's no doubt about that. I wonder though, Barry, it's kind of like if you've coached in college, they all want to go to the NFL or the NBA. You're dealing with a lot of egos. You're dealing with people that are making a lot more money than you are. Is the coaching still the same? No, it's got to be a little different because you're dealing with professionals, dealing with people that probably, don't want to be coached a lot. I've always wondered about a coach in the NBA. How much coaching are you actually doing? But I don't know. We'll see. There's some quality college programs that have openings or will have openings. you got to wonder if he's going to think about that.
There's no doubt.
Got to maybe get ready just in case. All right, before we get to the Daily Dog, just kind of wanted to update you. My daughter Lucy, who was on the show last week, who finished number 7 in the ESPN Tournament Challenge last year out of 26 million entrants, finished 7th. I know it's hard to believe, but she did. Well, this year, things aren't going as well, but I think she's still doing pretty good. Out of 26 million plus, currently she ranks in a group that is in the 4.5 million area. So, she's certainly in the better part of 26 million.
Got it.
83.5 percentile. 83.5%. So she's, doing okay right now. Not bad. Not to her expectations, not to her level. She's not happy about it.
She still can finish strong.
She can finish strong. I just don't see a top 10 finish in their future.
Who knows? I never saw that go.
4.5 million, in that area. She's in the group in that area. Because I'm looking at some of these other 15.6 million, 17.4 million. I mean, 4.5, you're in pretty good shape. Not bad.
We are
chopped liver.
We are in the danger zone right now because we are flirting with perception here on Longshore and McKnight. The longer we take, the longer we go on, the more the perception will build that John's trying to avoid bringing up our daily segment of the fan. It's not the case. No. I'm just talking about the perception is that people might say, man, there must be some reason why John ain't bringing up the Daily Dog.
Well, we had a lot to talk about today. It's kind of a tough time in the sports calendar. We're certainly waiting maybe later in the week for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to roll around. The start of Major League Baseball, Barry, baseball's been good to us as well. But we're not using excuses because there's always a diamond in the rough to look for.
Yes.
Last night, though, it was a turd on the ground.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't a diamond in the rough. No, it was only rough.
It was just rough.
Yes.
For some, we had the Miami Heat at home against the San Antonio Spurs, who have already clinched a playoff spot. What are they doing? What are they playing for?
Why are they playing so hard for? What are you doing?
Well, they played pretty well. Beat the home team by 25 last night. 136. 111. So there you have it. So tonight, there's a couple of games that have caught our attention. One of them, Barry, we're not going to play it, but we're just going to talk about it. Phoenix is at home catching 5.5, hosting Denver on NBC tonight at 10 o'clock. Woo!
Yikes.
It's a late start. I'm thinking, why is Phoenix a home dog? I looked at it a little closer. Some injury issues. So we're going to go to another game involving on air. We're going to go to another game involving a team that's made the playoffs.
Right.
And another team that is scratching and clawing to try to make the playoffs. They are close. They're right there. They need a little help from some teams in front of them, but they got to help themselves as well.
All right, here are the particulars. What do we got?
Barry, we're going to go to Madison Square Garden tonight, where at 6:30, the New York Knicks are a 9.5-point favorite.
Got it.
Against the Pelicans of New Orleans. Now, it is true, the Knicks they've won 6 in a row.
The Knicks are 22 games over 500. The Pelicans are 22 games under 500.
See, there's the common thread. Knicks have won 6 in a row, currently in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. The Pelicans, on the other hand, are one game out, or are one team out of the playoffs right now. They've lost one. They lost their last game. But they still have a shot. They got to win. But we're expecting a real hard effort, real true effort tonight, so they can keep it between the 9.5 under the 9.5 tonight.
Correct.
So we're going to take the Pelicans plus 9.5 at New York tonight against the Knicks. Might not win the game, but they're going to play hard, and we're going to take them tonight as our Phantoms daily dog.
Well,
how about that?
We've gotten through the doldrums, at the end of the regular of the football season. Basketball is what basketball is, but we are, as of tomorrow, I guess we'll be able to get into a little bit of Major League Baseball. Tomorrow, the Major League Baseball season starts. Will the Phantom start issuing opinions on Major League games? Because they are coming one game tomorrow. Then on Thursday, you got 11 games, and then we're off and running there. The official,
Barry, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm an honest guy.
He has always been honest.
I'm going to just tell you how I feel about it. I don't have anything against baseball. I don't. People love it. It's a great sport for kids growing up in the summer.
Yeah.
Been to 3 World Series games, if you've never heard me say that before. So obviously there's something about baseball I like. I do like postseason
beer. It's the Bud Light. It's the Michelob Light.
But regular season baseball just doesn't attract me as maybe it does some of our viewers and listeners, which is fine. That's good. That's okay.
33 flavors.
But I did think this the other day with the dawn of another major league season upon us. I thought, man. And the first thing I thought of is I said, well, I'm going to be gone a week in June. And was I thinking about where I'm going and what I'm going to be doing?
Always. John likes to have a plan.
Or was I thinking more about, man, that is a week in my life I'm not going to have to deal with baseball. And I did think that. I almost feel guilty about it.
Only for a moment, and the moment's gone.
Should I think this way? That I can just wipe the slate clean and go, you know what? A week without baseball. Man, should I be thinking about other things, where I'm going, what I'm going to be doing, people I'm going to be with? Probably. But the first thing that came to my mind was, whoa, a week without baseball. How great is that going to be?
That's awful.
I almost feel guilty for thinking that way, Barry.
Well, we got a couple of breaks to get to. We'll get to one here, then one right before the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk, stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117. Or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet. All righty, welcome back, everybody. About 17 minutes to the top of the hour. Barry, our friend David Scott at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, yes. Friend of yours, friend of mine. I know you go to the store when you're in town.
Yeah.
Asked me to do something this morning that I got to tell you is going to be tough. It is going to be difficult, but I'm going to do it because he asked me to. He said, John, on air, would you rank the 3 fish that you cooked up for those boys over the weekend? And my wife, she was there too. So she was really, she cooked, she made the coleslaw and all the other stuff that went with the fish. I just
hush puppies. Were there hush puppies?
They wanted, believe it or not, Barry, they wanted some fries.
Okay,
like
so you got
cut
sea bass, you had triple tail,
and red snapper.
And
this is going to be difficult, Barry. It really is. But I was asked to do it, so I'm going to give it a shot. So I got to tell you, the fish was fresh, direct from the Destin Connection.
Can't go wrong with any of them. Not
fantastic.
at all. That's a win-win if there ever was one. Okay, number 3.
And the great thing about it is, Barry, I said, hey, Dave, this is what I'm doing. This is what I got going on. He goes, got you hooked up. This is exactly what you need to do.
Swing by, grab it, boom.
That's why we went with these 3.
All right.
And
number 3.
The batter that I put on it, the cocktail sauce, fantastic. All right.
Number 3.
Number 3 is sea bass. Fantastic.
It is amazing.
Really good. Haven't had it as much as I've had the other 2, but really good. Maybe a little thicker cut than I'm not used to, but still very, 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 very good.
Okay.
Then I'm going to go red snapper. Everybody's had some red snapper.
Red snapper. When the thing about red snapper is when it's fresh and prepared well.
Yep.
It is out of this world. You
It's
got to stay away from red snapper that's not fresh or frozen or anything like that. And that's where the Destin Connection Seafood Market comes in.
Cooks up so
always fresh. Yeah. Okay.
Cooks
so
up so well.
I get it. Red snapper number 2. That means number 1.
Triple tail. And here's why it's a light, flaky fish, as are the other 2. Light, flaky fish, cut a little thinner. Love the way it cooks up. Just absolutely. Look, I don't eat a lot of fried food, but I do have a 2-basket deep fryer with a propane tank on it. That's great for down there.
Yeah.
You can cook all kind of stuff in it. When you got a bunch of kids, and it certainly helps. But I do love some fried fish. I just got to tell you, I love it. And that cocktail sauce that's homemade there at Destin Connection is so good with it.
I haven't had that.
In the batter. But I got to go triple tail, Barry. Thinner, delicate, white, flaky, all fantastic. You can't go wrong with any of them. That's just my personal preference. You see what you like the best. Go for the triple. Try some sea bass, some snapper, triple tail.
And
can't go wrong with any of them.
Am I right? You also, David, give me some shrimp too.
Yes. So I always have a little, shrimp as a little compliment to the seafood dishes. And he gets those for me already, deveined, peeled, the whole deal.
Oh,
So
nice.
all you got to do is pop them in your mouth. Outstanding. And another thing that, I will say this about this deep fryer. The time is just warming up the oil. That's what takes the longest time. Because you turn the propane tank on, it starts heating up, which is fine. It's about, 3/4 of a cigar and about 2 martinis. That's usually about the time it's ready to then your oil's ready.
Yeah, John uses that as a timing mechanism. Nothing wrong with that.
Sure. They're ready to go. Look at the gauge. It's in the green. Boom. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because once you drop it, it's about 4 minutes. That's all it takes.
Oh.
Quick. It is quick.
There
4
you
minutes,
go.
ready to go.
Yep.
So
Destin
go for
Connection Seafood Market. Give them a call. They'll take care of you at 288-4272.
288-4272 or go by 3750 Norman Bridge Road and tell them John and Barry sent you. Great staff over there. They did great work.
You
So,
go.
David, I appreciate you with that suggestion. It was really good stuff.
See, the thing Hurricane One on the River Region Straw Chat line, the thing is Hurricane One, he says this needs to become a regular segment. Destin Connection Seafood Market already has a regular segment.
It does.
It's called Rodney Orr, the
That's
Tiger
Thursday.
Insider on Thursdays.
8:00.
When we come back, it's the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel on Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
We are back at it here on a Tuesday, 10 minutes or so to go before the top of the hour. Glad you're with us. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, tell your associates, even tell your enemies. It doesn't matter. Longshore McKnight. You can check us out at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com, on the Yellowhammer News Facebook page, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Spotify, Apple Tunes. Search Longshore McKnight and the search bar will pop up. We'll be there for you each and every day. And the great thing about this format, we're live 7 to 9 on the weekdays, but you can watch or listen anytime you want. All episodes are archived. You can go back and watch whatever one you want, or the most current edition, which will be up in about 11 minutes. If you want to watch it later on or listen.
There we go. So we better get to it and fill out this day's content with the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, brought to you by Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama, where you can be a winner too. John and I have no clue what any of these are. Really, John thinks the biggest attraction is that each one of these squares has its own different color. Let's see. So, Cracker Down, Crazy Taylor, Sorry Taylor, only two ever. All right, we'll go Cracker Down.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. This was actually, I saw this on Ryer on YouTube. Watch it. Yeah, this is John Daly. It's a little bit of a canyon there. He's a shot maker now. Oh, no, John, hang on. Oh, no, John. Oh.
Yeah. That'll happen. You know, Barry, when they eliminated spikes on shoes and went to soft spikes, that's when stuff like this happens. You got the old spikes in your shoes. You ain't slipping like that.
I mean, the bad thing is, he didn't like drown or anything. They had to go get him, called himself a jack. But the thing is he busted 2 packs of cigarettes and a pack of peanut M&Ms in his pocket. So, he had to go get some more there. Yeah. That ought not to be, that ought to be out of bounds. That ought to be, take your penalty, go ahead and get your drop. Don't try to hit it from out of there.
Nah, that's tough. Don't be a hero. Just go ahead.
Don't be a fool with your life.
That's right. Billy, come on, listen to us.
Come on, make me your wife. Yeah,
who did that song, Barry? Who did Billy?
Donaldson and the Haywoods.
It lost me when they got into that flute. There was like a flute in that song. I went, you can deal with it. Yeah, got to go without the flute.
Yeah, the flute. Same thing with Firefall,
Yeah, that's a strange way to tell me you love me
when they got the flute on it. Sorry, Taylor. This is a Taylor Swift reference. Got to be. Yeah. $57 million contract for Travis Kelce. What's he going to be doing? He ain't be, It's a new contract. 1 year, $12 million, $3 million in incentives. 3 years, $20 million a year, 36 years old. Best days are behind him. And all the haters are out there saying, oh, what an idiot. They're paying him $20 million a year and da-da-da. Yeah. A lot of that is deferred. A lot of that is incentives based. And a lot of that is jealousy. People saying, why? Again, as Moses Malone once said for the Philadelphia 76ers, if the owner says it's cool, it's cool.
That's right. That's simple. If the owner's okay with it, then you're going to turn it down?
Shut up. Yeah.
Don't think so.
I don't either.
That's a good one there. All right. 4 more to go.
We got 4 to
Blue,
get.
red,
4 to get,
yellow,
Scoop.
green. Let's see what comes up.
Yeah. Oh, we'll go. This will make it to red. So this will be back again.
Back again.
Braves in the playoffs. Oh, yeah, the TGL finale. You talk about cherry picking. That video golf league that they've got. They've got like the Super Bowl of video golf.
Yeah.
He last played in 2025. His last appearance on the PGA Tour almost 2 years ago. Now they're going. He's missing like half of the discs in his back. They're having that TGL final, and he's going to be coming out. He's going to be playing in this. Had the car crash, severe leg injuries, had the back operation where they replaced a disc. They didn't fix the disc. They didn't. They didn't. They gave him a new disc, and then he ruptured his Achilles like Carl Spackler did with that penknife.
Yeah. Make a full turn without that Achilles. That's
golly, John. He's, I've seen videos of him when he was young and fire breathing and everything. He can barely walk now, and that's a shame.
Yeah, it's tough. You hate to see that with Tiger. And I got to tell you, Barry, I just haven't, I love golf. I like watching it. The Masters is coming up. Looking forward to that broadcast. But this indoor video kind of golf, and they're actually hitting golf balls. Don't get me wrong. They're hitting them into a screen. And then they kind of have a little short game area that's got artificial turf on it. They have a crowd. They got, these people all around them, and they're making noise, and lights are flashing, and Matt Berry's doing the commentary. But I just haven't gotten into it. Maybe it's for younger.
I'm scared of the precedent of it all, because that means someday you're going to have 55-year-old Patrick Mahomes dropping back on an artificial turf field inside of a big warehouse and throwing into a computer simulated screen. And hey, there's a touchdown.
Yeah.
An extra point. Oh, he missed it. It's not real. It's not real.
Golly, I definitely don't want to see football like that. But the only thing, and maybe it's just a cheap way of explaining it, but maybe that's what the younger demographic wants. They want to see golf played indoors with flashing lights and
with all the video games and all of the technology to make the video game so lifelike. We need to remind everybody once in a while, hey, there's a big, beautiful world out there.
Got to get out there
with girls and cars and fun and charitable endeavors. You can make a difference. One of these days you're going to be old.
Right.
And you're going to sit back and you're going to look at the memories of, hey, man, I remember when I beat him on Fortnite and I was down to my last night of life or whatever. That ain't real, people.
Got to go outside and get a little vitamin D from time to time.
Yeah. That's like the great author Kurt Vonnegut once said.
Oh, Kirk, yeah.
He said, life is about putzing around. Go to the post office. Well, you can just leave it in the mailbox. Yeah, but you go to the post office, you might see that old lady over there walking her dog. And, you got this guy over there who's, get out there and do something.
Yeah,
anyway,
no doubt.
What do we got?
All right, 3 more to go. Yellow, blue, and red on the Gurn Junior Victoryland 777 topic wheel. You can be a winner, too. Victoryland open 24/7, 365.
Hiding out.
Hiding out.
Probably a bear in a... Oh, yeah. I knew it was an animal when I count that one. All right. This is a toy animal shelf in Australia. Except that ain't no toy animal.
No, it isn't.
I can't tell you what it is. It's
some ferret.
It's a marsupial.
Oh.
What is that? Anyway,
like
so you got, look at that. This is cute. That's cute. What the heck is that? Obviously, he's hiding out. That's smart, John. That is smart. You stay in out of the weather and everything, and all you got to do is look like a stuffed animal, and you got it made. They ain't never going to see you unless you.
Man, you reach in there to get a stuffed animal, but it's not stuffed, and he bites you. Ugh.
It's a possum.
Then the store's got a suit against them.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. 2 more to go. Let's see what we got here.
If it's a cute animal video, Gurn Jr. is going to find it.
I love the animal videos. Gotta love those. Well,
crazy extension.
Could this be about?
Oh, I saw this. Highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's the offensive player of the year for the Seahawks, who won the Super Bowl. 4-year, $68.6 million contract extension that averages $42.15 million a year. The question I always, and he, if anybody deserves it, he does. He's fantastic. The thing that always makes me wonder is they're negotiating back and forth, right? He's great. Everybody knows he's great. Seahawks, a Super Bowl champion. And they say, all right, we'll give you 4 years, $68.6 million. Oh, no, they'll say 4 years, $68.2 million. And his attorney's like, I really want that extra $400,000.
Yeah.
Nope, ain't doing it. How is it just not $68 million?
Yeah.
Why is it that 0.6 in there? Throw that in there.
It's never, maybe they're trying to cover somebody's expenses. Maybe the, agent's getting somebody, who knows?
The lawyers, the suits.
But,
possibly.
Yeah, you don't see rounded. It's like if you go to the grocery store and buy 10 items and it just happens to fall on $20 even, always look at the cashier and go, huh, really? $20? Really?
Yeah.
It's not like $22.07? Okay.
That never happens.
Here's a 20.
Unless you're in Puerto Rico. All right, here we go. What else we got?
Here we go.
Final one.
One more to go. Got to spin it to make it official. It's the Blue
They
Pound.
say this about us. Now,
they do.
This ought to be the name of our show.
Yeah.
Only two ever.
Only two
Longshore
ever.
and McKnight.
That's right. Only
They
two
say.
ever. We got some hockey action.
Alex Ovechkin. He and Gretzky, the only players in the NHL to ever score 1,000 career goals.
It's amazing.
And there it is right there for the good old Washington Capitals. One of the great players ever, Alex Ovechkin.
Good for them.
It's so funny. Even now, Gretzky's numbers are so much better by far than anybody else. Even now, it's unbelievable. Yeah. There we go.
Pretty dadgum impressive. All right, man. Thanks to Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com, Travis Ryer on YouTube. Tomorrow, CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, scheduled to join us. And Josh Harris, the money line magician. Wonder what he thought about the Tide's victory Sunday night and what he thinks about their chances Friday against Michigan. We'll talk about that and so much more on the program tomorrow.
Many thanks, Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com, Travis Ryer on YouTube, and our producer, Gurn Jr. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.